story, Donald Trump firing back right now at the New York Times after the paper wrote a lengthy hit piece on his relationship with women, saying Donald Trump has crossed the line, alleging he asked a model at a party of his to put on a swimsuit. He kissed Miss Universe contestants on the lips uninvited, according to the Times. He refutes that and forced them to describe their fellow contestants to him. The presumptive Republican nominee has called the whole thing lame, tweeting, "Everyone is laughing at the New York Times for the lame hit piece they did on me and women. I gave them many names of women I helped refuse to use." Or I helped, but they refused to use. And despite the New York Times standing by its story, one of the women telling Fox and Friends this morning it was all a lie and that Trump is a, quote, very good guy. Joining me right now with their thoughts, Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall and former Republican Congressman Joe Walsh of Illinois. Okay, guys, I want to first play for you some sound from this ex-girlfriend of Donald Trump's, Roanne Lane. Here she is talking to Fox and Friends about how she believes that her quotes were taken out of context. Watch.
They did take quotes from what I said, and they put a negative connotation on it. They spun it to where it appeared negative. I did not have a negative experience with Donald Trump, and I don't appreciate them making it look like that I was saying that it was a negative experience, because it was not.
Congressman, what kind of agenda do you think the New York Times had?
Yeah, hey, Trish, good to see you again. Hey, here it begins. The media now is in a full frontal assault to knock down Donald Trump and stand with Hillary. I mean, think about it. Donald Trump's behavior might have crossed the line. Hillary's husband has screwed around on her for 40-plus years, Trish, and the media won't even look into that. They've had an open marriage. Now, look, I think candidates' personal lives should be out of it, but the media is only going after Trump and ignoring the Clintons and the personal issues they've had for years. That's not going to work this year.
Well, in fairness, during the whole Lewinsky issue, I mean, his life and their personal life was, Leslie, very much in focus. The question is, you know, is the New York Times doing this deliberately, trying to malign Trump in a way so as to actually help Hillary Clinton?
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, come on, let's be realist. The LA Times was bashed last week for saying and having a negative headline about Hillary. The New York Times has been known to be a left-leaning paper, and I think we're going to see more information on Donald Trump and Hillary come out with regard to women, especially because of things that he has said and done with women in the past. I personally didn't think this was a piece of journalistic integrity, and I honestly don't think this is a piece that helps or hurts either Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton with women voters. Because women voters, as you know, Trish, being a woman as well, it's not necessarily, and for some it might be, his treatment of former women, like his first wife, as example, or employees, but more where does he stand on issues legislation-wise for the future with regard to women, whether it's equal pay, parental leave, or issues that could really matter to women regarding reproductive rights and who he would or would not place on that Supreme Court.
Yeah, I'd also make the point
it's not just, oh, he said bad things about women.
You know, most women are CFOs of their household, so they care very, very deeply about the economy and the prospects of themselves, their husbands, and their children being employed in this economy. But Joe, back to you for a moment. I mean, this guy, in some ways, Donald Trump, is quite an enigma because when you look at his record and you compare it, say, with Hillary Clinton's, he certainly has treated women well in the workplace, in that he has far more female executives than Hillary Clinton has, and those women are paid better. I mean, you look at the Clintons' track record, and the Clinton Foundation IRS records show that women are actually paid 38% less for the exact same work as men. So on the one hand, yeah, he's saying some stuff that, you know, maybe makes us all cringe a little bit. And then on the other hand, when it actually comes to how he's promoting women and treating them in the workplace, he's got a better track record than Hillary Clinton. So how do people square that away?
Well, and it's almost interesting, Trish. The thing about Trump is he's almost an equal opportunity insulter. Look, but you can't deny this. This is not a story, but the New York Times, Trish, I believe, and the rest of the media, they're going to dive into Trump's marriages. They're going to dive into his affairs, and they will ignore what Bill and Hillary have done with their marriage for 40 years. And I agree with Leslie. This should focus on the issues. But if you're going to be one-sided and you're going to go after Trump's personal life, and you're going to ignore the fact that Bill and Hillary have had an open marriage for 40 years, that's not going to work this year.
You know, I hear you on that, because people have made the point that we shouldn't be talking about Hillary Clinton's personal life, in that, you know, clearly she has a very flawed relationship with her husband. But that shouldn't be something, and Leslie, you said that shouldn't be something that we're talking about. So the flip side is, why would we then talk about Donald Trump's personal life?
Well, I don't know, with all due respect, Congressman, what rock you've been living under, but Donald Trump has been calling Hillary Clinton for weeks an enabler. He's been pointing out, even though he committed adultery, the adultery and the sins of the past of Bill Clinton. People have, rather than held her in high regard as they did Tammy Wynette when she sang Stand By Your Man, when Hillary Clinton really did and continues to stand by her man. We must think they have an open relationship. You know, there's something wrong with this woman who takes the vow seriously that she took when she got married. But having said that, I don't think it's just Donald that's being picked at. I think Hillary.
I think it's different, though,
I think
Leslie.
both of them are being
It's not a question of do you stand by your man. It's a question of, are you willing to basically, you know, sock it to any woman who comes along who dares to make the accusation that your husband made these unwelcomed, or in some cases welcomed, advances.
Look, Trish, to answer your question, it's because the media wants Hillary to win. This isn't complicated. They were dying to get Trump, and now they're going to try to tear him down personally. And I don't think it's going to work this year because, again, a lot of the country doesn't know about Bill and Hillary. They don't know that they've had an open marriage for 40 years.
Oh, come on. I think that people, I think people kind of know that, you know, at this point. And I guess I would just ask the question, does any of it really matter? Is any of it going to really stick? I mean, Leslie, you know, as you point out, she's still there, right? She's still campaigning. Bill Clinton has rehabilitated himself. And I don't know if anybody really cares about Donald Trump. They kind of, you know, in some ways sort of assume it. And he's on his third marriage. Anyway, Leslie, Congressman Walsh, thank you. I'm going to see you in a bit. We're going to talk about whether or not any of this is going to stick, whether it matters, with our friend Ed Rollins. Donald Trump taken to Twitter again to ask, why doesn't the failing New York Times write the real story on the Clintons and women? The media is totally dishonest. So Trump has taken matters into his own hands and is reportedly planning to bring up Bill Clinton's affairs during the presidential debates this fall. The Democratic Party in chaos as voters head to the polls in Kentucky and Oregon tomorrow. Bernie Sanders is hoping to continue this winning streak, rack up a few more victories, further proving to be a thorn in Hillary Clinton's side as he vows to take his fight all the way to the national convention in July. All of this as the Nevada Democratic Convention was actually shut down this weekend over concerns about violence when Sanders supporters protested that his delegates were being shut out. Even Senator Barbara Boxer was shouted down and booed. Watch that here. You know, who would have thought it would be the Democrats in chaos at this point, facing a contested convention in July? Leslie Marshall, former Congressman Joe Walsh are back with me. Leslie, gosh, why can't you guys get rid of Bernie Sanders?
Oh, well, I don't think anybody wants to get rid of Senator Sanders. He's always said he would go till July to the floor of the convention because, remember, he knows numbers-wise he can't win. He has to win 67% of every single state that remains in this 50-state
primary
so he knows
he's got no shot.
Point.
Nobody thinks he really has a shot.
He knows.
You know, he's got some supporters that are pretty diehard. Some are so diehard that they are going to vote for Trump, they say, over Hillary Clinton. But what is it that he wants? Why is he still in play here, Leslie?
Since the beginning, and I have to say, at least he's been very consistent with his message. He's passionate about what he says and about what he believes. The problem is, like Secretary Clinton has pointed out, and many people like myself who like him but don't want to vote for him for president, is he has great ideas that won't pass a House, whether divided or certainly a Republican majority in the House and the Senate. So he is bringing his message to the floor. And this is something all along. I mean, this is showing that, look, you don't need to have corporate America write a check for you. These are the issues I'm passionate about. I'm going to run this race until the end, even if I know I can't win it. And he's maintained that all along.
Part of this, Joe, is coming down to authenticity, right? I mean, as Leslie points out, this is a guy who has believed this from the very begining. I mean, he's your classic Vermont hippie who, back in the 70s was saying it should be illegal for anybody to earn over $1 million. I mean, the government, I guess, should just confiscate the rest. Whether you agree with socialism or not, you can't dispute the fact that he believes in what he's talking about. And how challenging does that make the situation for Hillary Clinton, given that a lot of people don't feel like she really, truly, deep down believes necessarily in anything she's talking about?
Yeah, you know, Trish, it's just, I'm constantly amazed at what a horrible candidate Hillary is. I mean, when you pinch yourself every now and then and think about it, this is a 74-year-old socialist who's giving her the run of her life. And to your point, Trish, man, I'll tell you what does Bernie want? I think Bernie still thinks he can win. I think the game on the Democratic side has been rigged. Hillary will be the nominee, but all of the enthusiasm, all of the fight and drive is with him. She is so thoroughly unlikable. I think, Trish, there's a real shot that Trump will get some surprising Bernie support when this is done.
Guys, let me play this sound for you. This is Hillary Clinton on the campaign trail down south, and here she is with that Southern accent. A Southern accent. She was born and raised in Illinois, and somehow these words make their way out of her mouth. Listen.
Sheriff Peanut Gaines, who's here with us. Peanut's been around helping my husband and me for a long time, too. I always feel a little safer when he is. I always see him when he's got that hat on. He never takes it off. He was reminding me earlier that when I was a senator from New York, I came out of one of the Senate buildings, and there he was. I immediately recognized him. How could you not?
Leslie, come on. What's the deal with the Southern accent that just pops up here and there whenever it's convenient, perhaps today in Kentucky?
Okay, well, I'm guilty of this too. Okay, I lived in Houston, Texas for 5 months and found myself a liberal Democrat Yankee from Boston saying y'all every now and then. I heard one word with a Southern twang. By the way, I lived in Illinois, I lived in Chicago, and I was surprised how many people did adopt that Southern accent. I'd be like, guys, we are in Chicago. We are in the Midwest, not in the Deep South. I think it's very common for people, just like, Trump will say, Ohio, I love Ohio, and mention something that they make in the state of Ohio. I think that's common for politicians, no matter who they are, and I don't think Hillary Clinton's the only one that would, adopt that little twang for one word that I heard.
Yeah,
Congressman
but
Walsh?
you know what, Trish? There's just something so inauthentic about her. I remember when she ran for the Senate from New York, she was a lifelong Illinois person, and she told the folks she put on a Yankee cap and said she'd been a Yankee fan her whole life. This is a problem for her, because love Trump or hate Trump, the guy he is what he is, and Hillary it's like she's not a real person.
Well, and this was the problem Mitt Romney had. Let's not forget, right? That's the problem John Kerry had. I mean, Americans, they want to feel like they know you. They want to feel that they like you, and they want to feel like you're American and that you'll just say what you think. So authenticity matters. I don't think if it didn't, we wouldn't see Bernie Sanders where he is today. Leslie, Congressman Walsh, good to see you guys. A pleasure.
Thanks, Trish.
Coming up.